Assalamualaikum. Okay, so I'm going to just pick a number of random things that I've heard recently levelled at the Muslims that Muslims are often asked about, and I'm going to try to explain them as best I can. And these things I'm talking about are the kind of regular stuff that's coming out from Islamophobes trying to demonise Muslims. Now, these Islamophobes normally have kind of standard stuff that they shoot towards Muslims. A lot of it comes out of straight out of Tel Aviv and Israeli kind of think tanks, and are picked up by right-wing nuts here in Europe and in America. Why I'm going to address some of these points and why it's at the fore of my mind is that after I had this kind of ding-dong with Douglas Murray on Sky News, I got this really strange call, or MPAC got this strange call from a really powerful journalist that kind of makes it his business to go and attack Muslims and do kind of exposés of Muslims, scary music in the background, you know, cut it all so it sounds like they're the kind of most wicked people on earth, and this great journalist has defended Britain by exposing them. He called MPAC up, and I called him back, and we had this exchange over the phone, right? And he put some things, he levelled some accusations at Muslims and at MPAC, and I found them fascinating, right? And I found it interesting that this journalist even had the cheek to even mention some of this stuff, because to me none of it made sense in the context that he was talking about, in the context of, I don't know, extremism or violence. So now let's tackle some of these head on, right? The first, right? His definition, or one of the definitions that he liked, that he thought was extremist, you know, that was unacceptable, was a red line, right? Was the concept of a caliphate, right? Now, so his kind of, question was, this kind of, are you a baddie or a goodie? Are you evil or good? You know, which side of the fence do you fall in? Are you the bad Muslim or the extremist Muslims? And one of the things he said was, so so and so believes in a caliphate, and this thing in his mind, this caliphate, right, was the ultimate evil. If you believed in it, you were the evil Muslim, and if you didn't, well, you're not good. I'll ask you a few more questions. But I just want to analyse this. Why is a caliphate so evil? I don't get it, right? I mean, I have not been able to work out why these right-wing nuts see any Muslim as evil because they believe in a caliphate. Now, I get the geopolitical fear of Western governments who have carved up the Muslim world, why they don't want Muslims to unite, right? But that's a political argument. Yeah, that's an argument that says, well, we want to steal your wealth. We find it easier to steal your wealth by propping up dictators and making sure that you all hate each other by carving up your nations. We don't want you to get back together again, and so it's easier for us to have you separate. Therefore, if you are unified, it's going to cause us a problem. Okay, fair dues, respect to that, honest analysis, makes sense. But how do they go from there to try to spin it as you're actually an immoral, evil, wicked extremist by believing in some sort of caliphate? I haven't worked it out. For example, the European Union, that's a union of states, I think all Christian. They haven't allowed Turkey into it for some unknown reason, right? Why is that not extremist? So the Labour Party who might back the European Union, are they all extremists for backing it? What makes Muslims so different? So I can't actually see the logical, rational argument yet, how they're trying to make the argument that if you believe in a caliphate, then you are an extremist. And if there's any non-Muslim out there, then please I don't know, let me know, and I'll try to respond. We'll have a discussion where you can make your video or write your piece underneath on the MPAC page on Facebook or on this YouTube, and I'll try to counter if I can, right? Now, the second thing that he that came out. Sorry. Okay. The second thing that I want to address, right? The word Kafir. Now, that seemed recently. I saw it all over, the media, where some Muslim had used the word Kafir, and they were outraged. The media was like really upset, or some of these, broadsheets and were really upset about this Muslim guy using the word Kafir about them, and they were like, oh look, derogatory term, this guy's got a job. Why has he still got a job, right? And I want to start again. I want to think about this word Kafir. Now, Kafir is used by God in the Quran to indicate a disbeliever. It's a theological argument, right? It's a theological point. God himself says, right, there's believers and there's disbelievers. The believers are called Muslims and the disbelievers are called Kafirs. Why is that so offensive? What I don't get more than anything is, it's a kind of, it's not a nice thing from a Muslim perspective, obviously, because, from a Muslim perspective, it's like someone who says, well, I reject God, so therefore you're a disbeliever, and disbeliever's not a good thing. So, okay, that's not a good thing, but then that's what you are because you disbelieve, right? And you're hardly unproud about it. It's not like these guys going, oh, I really want to be a believer, but I can't, and now I'm just being picked on because I'm, because I can't. Well, I thought you were happy about being disbelievers. I mean, you wear it on your sleeve. In fact, you hate Muslims. So, what's the problem? Get a tattoo done in your arm like a lot of these American soldiers have, and call yourself Kafir. What's the problem? I don't really get why you're so offended. But more than anything, what I don't get about these right-wing guys who are offended by this term is they're the same guys who are calling Muslims Islamists, jihadists, extremists, radical, so they can label us anything they want. We have no choice in the matter. That journalist that called me up, first thing is, he's shooting words like Islamist and are you an Islamist and blah, blah, blah. What the hell? I never chose the word Islamist. I'm a Muslim. 1400 years we've been on this earth. I haven't even heard the word Islamist till these guys started using it. So they can label us whatever they want, and how 1 billion Muslims feel about it, they can give two hoots. But we use the word Kafir that is 1400 years old, that God uses in the Quran, and we're supposed to go, whoa, you're offending people here. Well, don't offend us. You can't dish it out and then not take some back. I don't really get it. Kafir to me is a mild thing. You're lucky you don't get called the B word or something. It just does not compute how they got the cheek to complain about that. They're quick at insulting Muslims. They don't even use the word Muslim. Have you noticed that they call Muslims this? Muslim doesn't have a Z in it, mate. We've been around for 1400 years and you can't use the word S in the word Muslim. It's just insulting. But now here they are complaining about the word Kafir. I'm talking about cheek. The other thing was, this journalist brought up was identity. He said, oh, well, you guys, you keep talking about Muslims this and Muslims that, and Muslims need to stand up for themselves. You're separating the community. What, aren't you British? Hold on. You guys use the word Muslims. We only use the word Muslim really previously in a theological sense. Yeah, us Muslims need to pray. But as a political sense, it's more to do with these right-wing racists and their mates in the media than it ever is with us. Yeah, they push the word Muslims, identity of Muslims. Anything there's a negative about, it's a Muslim. If Muslim wins gold in the Olympics, then he's British. Mo Farah wins gold. Another great medal for Britain. Paedophile in Bradford. Oh, look at these Muslim paedophiles, man. What they're doing in our country. You can't have it both ways, guys. When we use the word Muslim, then, oh, why are you separating, people in this country? You're all British. And then I open a newspaper and you get Muslim paedophiles or Muslim terrorists or Muslim, extremists or Muslims don't understand freedom of speech, or you don't understand our values. What do you mean your values? So who's separating things there? Again, you can't have it your way, both ways. You're just hypocrites. Either we are part of Britain and then don't mention the word Muslim because you obviously think it separates people. I'm cool with that. Just, you know, mention British people. But if you don't do it, then don't blame us for reacting, because we're reacting to the demonization of us. So, you know, really, again, pretty cheeky, isn't it? Pretty, you know, trying to pull a fast one there by claiming that Muslims are trying to be the other by calling themselves Muslims, or talking about Muslims standing up for themselves. All right, so let's take the last point, right? How some people keep bringing up this kind of verses in the Quran about jihad, and they say, you know, oh, the Quran teaches violence. Yeah? First, let me make it clear: the Quran, or nor Islam, nor the Muslims are pacifists. We don't believe in, you know, just seeing little children killed and just, I don't know, go, you know, God, please help, do not something. You know, we're just going to sit here. This is rejected in Islam, and seen as both a cowardly act and an evil act. You can't let people suffer and absolutely do nothing. So, you know, it is not a pacifist religion. But what I find cheeky about these guys is their armies that they back and they support, and, you know, champions of war and all this type of stuff, right, are colonizing or bombing or half the world, right? Military bases from one end of the earth to another, right? And they got a cheek to talk about Muslims and saying, oh, there's a line in your book that says, you know, smite the unbeliever. I mean, you got to be kidding me, right? Are you serious? America spends more on its military than the top 10 countries, the rest of the top 10 countries in the world spend on their military budgets combined. That's how much just America spends, let alone the European countries that make up the rest of the top 10, yeah, and China. So if you included all the European countries and China, America spends more than them on its military budget. And they got a cheek to look at a line in the Quran and go, oh, hold on, it says the word smite. It says smite the unbelievers. Oh my God, you guys are so violent. You're really frightening me now. You got to be, you know, I don't know what planet they're living on. And what makes it worse is you got all these Muslims running up and going, no, hold on, man. Islam's peace. Oh, that verse, you got it all wrong, man. I've never seen that verse before. You have seen the verse. Stop lying, right? Stop blagging. You know the verses in the Quran. Just explain it, you know, and then ask them, where's your verses that you got such a large military that ends up bombing half the Muslim world and has been doing for over 100 years? Where'd you get that? Well, you know, who taught you that? Because you guys ain't learning it from the Quran. You're not Muslim. You didn't see, oh, it says smite in the Quran. I'm not a Muslim. I better go smite them and build up the largest military industrial complex in the history of this world. Because the Quran says that. Because they're not Muslims. So the pressure or the question shouldn't be directed at the Muslims. They need to look at themselves before they look at the Muslims. Muslims can't even make a tank. I don't think there's a Muslim country in the world that has the technology to build a tank. So where are these cheeky guys complaining about Muslims and violence for? I don't get it. You know, I get that there's terrorism, but terrorism is just guys reacting, becoming extreme off the back of their world being destroyed. So again, again, none of these Islamophobic attacks so far make any sense to me. If there's anyone with any rational argument out there, you know, please put it forward. I would like to hear it. So far, I've not heard a single thing about any of the things that I put forward that make absolutely any sense to me at this stage. So I'm looking out to these Islamophobes. There's the Zionist crazies that fund them, and their friends in Tel Aviv, or anyone else who genuinely thinks that, you know, who's been, in my mind, that you've been brainwashed, but in your mind you probably think, you know, no, you've got a genuine comment, and you really think Muslims, you know, need to relook at, you know, X, Y, and Z, and I've got it all wrong, and I just don't understand the point. Please write in or make a video blog to respond to this, or, you know, or just message me on Twitter or Facebook, and I will try to respond. Thank you for listening to this, and any more Islamophobic kind of arguments, put them out there. I'll try to respond in my next video. Thank you very much. Islamaphobic.